All right, so I'm working towards presenting this to my client, and I know that he is going to tell me that the family room should be, this wall should be out here and there to give it some more space. And I wouldn't disagree with that. I was trying to keep this square footage down, but that's pretty valuable square footage. It's only 12'2" right now. If I move it out another 2 feet, it'll be 14'2". And that 14 feet's a much nicer dimension. So 14 by almost by 16, 14 by 16 family room. Usually like to be 20 on the family room. I don't think we can go any farther here. I'm cantilevering on the second floor. Maybe I can cantilever on the first floor. So let's take a look at the site. What does the site say? Here's the site plan. And here is my 10-foot envelope. So right there. That's where I've built the house, is at this point right here. 10 feet buffers from the woodland preservation zone, or another 10 feet. So the argument for that 10 feet is so that the contractor can get equipment back there and material into the back of the house, which is logical. And let's see, if we look at the 3D, then we cantilevered that over there a couple of feet. We might get away with it. And we might not. So let's just do this. So this wall is not good. This is a stacked wall, and I want to delete that. And then we'll say, okay, to whatever that is. Now this wall is now, I want it to come all the way across. So let's go to the basement floor, or basement plan. And this wall is going to come all the way across. Okay, let's go back and look at the 3D and see what we did there. Okay, so that makes sense now. That wall is going to come all the way across, and then this wall is going to come all the way across as well. So let's go back to the first floor plan. And this, I think we can align. Let's try to align with the inside face of the gypsum board with the inside face of the gypsum board. Let's see what happens. Nothing at all. So I'm going to move it from the inside face of the gypsum board to the inside face of the gypsum board. Yeah, that's okay. All right, look at that's what we wanted to do there. This is a cantilever, and then out to there. So now I've got 15'8" by this dimension, which would be 14 feet something, 14'5". And I think that's a much nicer dimension for a family room. It's still not, I would love to cantilever out this way if we can get away with that. So it'd be 14 by 16. Or, you know, maybe we can leave this here, make the breakfast look a little bit smaller. What is the size of that breakfast nook? It's great, it's spacious. 14. Yeah, I wouldn't make it any smaller because we do have this breakfast bar here. And then we have that. But the client might say, make it 12 and make this 16. Or make it 12. This will be a desk area, I suppose. It would be nice to have a little desk area in the breakfast nook. But I could move all of the cabinets and all of this. I could move that down 2 feet, which would make. I don't want to pick that. There are other ways to do it, but I'll just hide the element right now. If I just take this guy and move everything 2 feet this way, it happens. All right. know what happened there with the countertop, but I can fix that simply by. Okay. Okay. 4'9". All right, so this guy didn't get moved. All right, so let's edit it in place. Let's edit the extrusion. Now, let's put in a dimension line here. We're going to add 2 feet to that dimension. Okay, so I'm going to click on this guy right here. Or whatever it is, I can make it 2 more feet. And then that's fine. And this should be 3 feet wide, so let's put a dimension in there. And there's that 9 inches that we had additional. I know I can move it 9 inches. Just move and type 9 inches. Okay. So that's what I wanted, 3 feet. It's this. So that made the family room bigger, which I think is a plus. This is a little tight, which might be an issue. So let's see what we have here. From here to here, 3 feet 2. It is pretty tight, especially for opening up the refrigerator. But I'll leave it alone for right now. I could push it back so that the refrigerator lined up with the edge here. That would give us absolutely no more room. All right, so I like that. Let's grab this guy and drag him over so that the cutout is in the right spot. Just a little bit here like that. Okay, and we'll finish up. And yeah. So this room separator now should go to there. Okay. And we should have a room separator here. Let's see, what do we have? This is the floor. This is our subfloor. So I'm going to edit that boundary and delete this and this. And just clean this up. That's it, okay. So that's my subfloor. Then we have the oak floor, which I've hidden. So we'll turn it back on and very cool. The floor went out. So that was what I just did. All right, so I'm going to hide it again. And I want to see plywood subfloor. A lot of times it's easier to connect to select it right here. And I'm going to say edit the boundary. And we'll say, okay, that's fine, show me the first floor. And plywood subfloor is where I want it to be. So just double checking. Everything looks good. Family room is a redundant room. Okay, so let's delete it. All right, and the kitchen, I'm going to put my room separator. Is this a room separator? Nope, it's just the detail line. So let's put in a room separator, architecture, room separator, from here to there. Okay. Now I can make a room here. Architecture room. Yep. It's a redundant room, so we'll delete it. rooms. All right, so there's already a room there, it's just not labeled. There we go. Family room. All right. So the family room got bigger, which I wanted it to do. The second floor is, what's this dashed line here? That's a cabinet, which we definitely don't need there, so I can delete that. So I like the family room better. It's not always, I try not to cantilever in both directions or cantilever in this way. So I try not to do it that way, but I'm not sure we'd get away with it with the municipality anyway. So for now, we'll leave it like this. Okay, so now it's time to start, well, let's see. What do I want to do here? I want to clean this up a little bit. The refrigerator should at least line up there. So I'm going to put in a reference plane. And then I'll go to that view and I'll see the reference plane. So I'm going to grab this guy. You can see I definitely prefer to just have two sections and move them around. And so now I can see that reference plane that I just put in is right here. And that's really where I want all of this stuff to be. If I go back to the first floor, there's no problem extending that a little farther, but it's probably better to leave all of the objects inside of here so that that doesn't extend outside of the kitchen. So let's put another reference plane in here. And the purpose of that is simply so that when I'm looking at that section, I know the boundaries that I want to work within. So I want to work within this reference plane and this reference plane. So this I want to move a lot. Eight inches, and here 4 or 5 inches, so a foot. I want to move everything. I have to move a foot. So if I take 6 inches out of these cabinets, it should be okay. So this is a 27. So take, make it 21. Do we have a 21 incher? Let's see. Yep, we do. Okay. So I want this to be a 21 incher as well. I went down to my frequently used. And this we want to be a 21 incher instead of 17. That we might not have. Okay, so we'll duplicate it. And it's 21 inches by 60. Okay. And the width, we'll just say 21 inches. Okay, now I have a 21 incher. I can grab this one and say 21 inches. Okay. My backsplash will have to change a little bit. My countertops will have to change a little bit. The center line of that's going to change. So let's do this stuff one at a time. So first of all, I want to align to this reference plane with this refrigerator. Okay. And then I want this cabinet, looking to see if I clicked multiple and I haven't. So I want this cabinet to line up there. Okay. And so in between these two is where the center of the range hood should be. So from here to the refrigerator. And then to the center, I'll come down here and say equal. it should be good. Should be, let's just double check. That looks good. Let's click on this and just drag them all. That does not look good. See, that didn't do what I wanted. Maybe I didn't pick what I wanted to do. So let's delete this. Okay, and we'll start again. This time I want to make sure that I'm going from this cabinet to the center of the hood to here. And then I will say equal. Let's see. Now it's to the right spot. Okay, I like it. This is really more detail than is necessary because there will be a kitchen design involved. I want that cabinet to line up here. I want this cabinet to line up here. So far, so good. Then this countertop cannot go any farther than the refrigerator. I can stretch it over the range. Same thing here. Stretch this guy over here. And this guy over here. And then I want the center of here and that to be the same. So we'll come up here. I'll say align the center of here and the center there. And I'll do the same thing over here. I'm just still checking to make sure I don't have multiple check because that does have a tendency to mess things up. All right. So I'm not getting the result that I wanted. This is 21 by 60, 21 by 60, 21 inch, 21 inch. Ah, I centered the hood, but I didn't center the range. Oh, so this distance and that distance. Not the same, but they should be. All right, so it's quite unnecessary. They're not going to build these. For that, okay. So I like my kitchen now. What I'm saying is they're not going to lay out a real kitchen based on these drawings. The kitchen designer is going to come in and do it. Still got to fix the backsplash. So hold it over here. Looks good otherwise. No, it doesn't. This guy has to come back. I think this is actually the cabinet here. And that's why it's off. Yes. Because I picked this line instead of this line to be my center line. Okay, so it is off a little bit, but that's all right. Save it. Let's go to our first floor and take a look at what we just did. I like it. This is good. This is okay. Maybe I can do a little bit more here. I don't know what's going on there, so I'll flip it. Let's go to that section. Yeah, I'm missing a little bit. All right. Should the backsplash go all the way to there? I don't know. see if we take this guy. You can see the kitchen sink, there's something's definitely not right here. So that's the countertop. This is the edge of the, this is where the breakfast nook is. This is that, so that looks good. I think this, let's see. I'll put in a reference plane in the center of the window, straight down. It looks good. So that means the sink needs to be relocated. So we'll modify the sink to there. Okay. Now, if I put this cabinet over here, let's see what happens if I mirror it. About the center line of the faucet. Yep. Okay, so we're good there. We're good there. And then we're not good here. This cabinet goes right up against there. Let's delete this one. And take this guy. And we'll mirror him about the center line of the faucet, which is the center line of the window. That line's up there, gives me a nice space between the cabinets and the windows. So I like that. I mean, well, let's take a look at that. The 3D from here. Let's see. Now we're going to look at, we're going to look in both directions. How does it look this way? All right. Two washers and dryer, or dishwasher it is. Discuss this element farther than that guy. All right, and let's see if I click on this object and shift and spin, I should be able to see. Yep, okay, looks good. I like it. I'm okay with that. That's the floor above. So, let's edit this. No, let's not. Let's go take a look at the 3D. And I have to put that wall back in up there, which that's a stacked wall. So I need to put this wall over there. So let's go to the second floor. And I guess I can just say create similar. Let's see what happens if we do that. We come across here. Okay. So I'm going to use the align tool to line up that. And then we'll trim extend and see what happens. Trim extend here. Oh, that's the same. This is a step wall, so I'm just going to grab this guy and drag him all the way over to there. All right, let's go back and look at that in 3D. Yeah, so I'll have to put a roof over that. And I want to change this wall type so that it has these pieces on top, but I can do that later. I don't have to do that right now. Okay, so let's go back to that 3D view. I'm going to put a ceiling in. I'm going to put some light fixtures in, and I'll accessorize this with furniture. But for now, just want to see the very bottom of that door. All right, CE, resume extent. Okay. View. Now, I'm just going to render in cloud because I don't have any light fixtures up here. I'm not worried about that. Not worried about any internal lighting right now. Right, I rendered this and it came out a solid black bar, nothing. So I'm going to proceed and put in the ceiling. We'll put in some light fixtures. And then we'll use sun and artificial. But for now, let's go to our ceiling plan. First floor ceiling plan. Here we go. Where do I want my ceiling? I really want it to be all the way. What's this? This is the second floor. But this line is the second floor, but I want my ceiling to go all the way to the wall, which is right here. Okay, so architecture. Ceiling. It's the right material. And I'm going to sketch it. Drawing a line. It should come from the outside of the gypsum board. Yeah, line I didn't want. Now, in the event that the client doesn't like anything, and this is a lot of wasted time, in the event that the client does like some of the things or most of the things, or even all of the things that they see, and we go to construction documents, I'm well on the way because I'm modeling this house not just in lines, but in actual walls in the way that, in many cases, the way the house would be constructed. But it's very rare that some change doesn't get made, which is fine. You know, the goal is to have a successful house, and it's defined as successful by selling, of course. If he's building a speculative home, he wants to sell it. But it's also, success would be defined by the occupants. You know, we want them to look at the house and go, hey, this works for me. And when they're living there, I want them to continue to say, hey, this works for me. And so with the eyes and brain power of the client, we can, I have a lot of, we can fine tune this so that everyone is happy. So I have way too many tabs open again. I'm going to close them. That gets me back down to just my ceiling plan. And now I can go to that view and see where the ceiling actually went in. I didn't pay any attention to the constraints. And you can see that it's far too low. So let's say that we'll make this the top of the first floor wall. And if memory serves, it's -5/8 of an inch. Let's see what happens. Right where we want it to be. This is a backsplash. It doesn't need to go any higher. Well, let's see what this is. First of all, that's the fascia. So that backsplash is not going to go any higher than the gypsum board ceiling. Okay, so that's good. All right. Let's go back to our first floor ceiling. And I want to put in downlights, same kind of lights as this. I wonder if we say wireframe. Yeah, all right. So I can see the second floor, which I don't want to see. I wanted to see the cabinets below. So what if we put the first floor as the underlay? Let's see what happens if we do that. Yep. Now I can see my cabinets, and we can switch this to hidden line. Yeah, I don't need to see the floor right now. So what if I turn that off? VG, F for floors. Let's go down to floors and say, I don't want to see those right now. Good. That definitely helps me because I want to start putting in some light fixtures. All right. I would want those linear lights underneath these cabinets. These two, where I have these linear lights over here. We can't see them. They're in that drop. But let's say create similar. Let's see what happens. I come over here. And I guess I would want definitely like a light with a sink. Okay. Okay. And now I'm going to put some reference planes in there. I want lights to be on the center points of the walkways and the middle of the island. So let's do that. Reference plane. All right, let's see if I can find a midpoint. Here we go. So that's the midpoint of the island. And then one from here to here. And then can I pick the midpoint of that reference plane? Okay, so we'll take that guy out of there. And we'll put a model line in there. We'll put a annotate detail line so I don't have to pick a reference plane. And we'll go from here to there. And then we'll put our reference plane in, architectural reference plane, because I will be able to pick a midpoint of that. There it is. And we'll come across here. So I'm just lining, creating the grid where I will place my light fixtures. I still want one in the middle of this walkway and the middle of this walkway. So we'll do the same thing. Annotate detail line from this countertop to this countertop. And then an architectural reference plane from the midpoint of that line. Just like AutoCAD, when we see the triangle, we know we've selected the midpoint. Drag that out. All right, so now I have this guy, this guy, and this guy. I don't need these anymore, so let's delete it because it's just going to confuse me. I still want to come in here with this series, and I want to be in the midpoint of here also. All right, so reference plane can be the midpoint of this countertop, and annotate detail line from this countertop to this countertop. Architectural reference plane midpoint here. There we go. And I'll just bring it farther down than we need to. And farther up. Okay, so this is something else which we might not need anymore, so I can get rid of that. Drag this guy down even farther. This is up on the second floor. Let's see. Still can see that. I don't want to see it. That actually made it worse. VR, the view range, said level above the second floor, 2 feet, 2 inches below it. I don't want to see any of the second floor stuff. It's confusing me. So we are all right. That's back to where we were. And so I'm going to put here. Really like to be centered. All right, well, let's see what happens here. Copy. Here. 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 Okay. So that's good that way. Then we can copy these three. All right, that makes sense. And now let's mirror those three about the midpoint of here. So we'll get the same distance over here. So we'll get some even illumination. The distribution of the light will be very similar. These I want to copy over to here. Maybe I'll put one here too. So let's see. Well, then let's copy this. Okay. Yes. I still need to put my under counter lights in. So let's do that. Well, first of all, let's save what we have here, and I can delete this line. But I want to put that linear light in. So let's do that. Architecture component. It's not recessed, but it might be down in the recently used. Nope. So we're looking for that linear light. One way or the other. Must be this way. What's that? No, closet hanger. What's that? Painting, no parking, no, that's not it. There it is, light strip. 24-inch, 20 volts. We'll put it in right there. Okay, now we'll go to that section and see where it actually got put. So again, I didn't pay any concern with the, right? So what do I want to do here? I want to flip it. Wonder if I can rotate it. Let's see what happens. 180. Well, let me rotate it. So let's pull this guy down here first of all. And see what we can do over here. Lighting. Okay. Can I mirror it? Doesn't appear to be able to mirror it. Let's try it again. Let's mirror it. It wouldn't let me rotate it. I doubt that it's going to let me mirror there. It's the same place. So let's delete this. Undo. It said that I have identical instances. Let's see if I can rotate that. Let me try it again. Can't rotate elements into this position. Okay, cancel that. Let's see if we can mirror. No, it didn't do that. So let's do this. We'll edit the family. And let's look at it from an elevation view, side view. There it is. Okay, let's save it as a family, which is 180 degrees rotated. Let's just see if it will let us do it here in the family. So I'm going to grab everything. So I want the light, that yellow is the light. I'm going to rotate it 180 degrees. Highlighted. All right. So it looks like it did that. So I'm going to load that into the project. And we'll go, I guess I put it here. All right. Let's take a look at it through this section. Just a bit. We'll go to that view now. There it is. Okay, works for me. Take, oops, the one I wanted to keep, I just deleted. So I don't need this guy anymore. I don't want this guy anymore. And this is my 180. So we'll pull him over there. All right, now let's look at it. This section. Yep, it's looking in the right direction. My depth of field goes way back to here, so I'll be able to see it. So let's look at it. Go to view. There it is. So it's 48 inches. It's the 180. Let's see if we have. Inches. So 24 probably isn't enough. So I've kind of centered it. What's the next size? 28 feet. Don't need that one. So we'll make one. We're going to measure it. It is from here to here is 4 feet. So we'll make it 3'6", which is 42 inches. Edit the type. Duplicate it. We'll call it 42 inches. Get rid of the 2. We don't do electrical, so I mean, it really should be Well, that might be the ballast. Okay, so don't worry about that anyway. The light length is 42 inches. Say okay. Now it's going to expand about the center line, so I'm comfortable with that. Let's mirror that object about here. Well, got it where I want it to be there. I need those light fixtures on the other cabinets that are across the kitchen. Oh, look at that, I can't see it here. So we'll go back to the first floor and I want to cut through the cabinet with the light in it and this cabinet, so that's good. All right, I'm going to take this guy and copy. From here, straight across. All right, for some reason, straight across didn't line up. So let's go to architecture, reference plane. Yeah. These cabinets don't line up. Which ones do we want to be correct? Let's see. Elevation from the level is 4 feet, oh, and something. Elevation level is 3 feet, 10.5. All right, let's say that that's the correct elevation. I will simply Control C. I'll click on this guy and Control V. Now they should line up. Oops. Cancel that out. Didn't copy. I wanted to copy that. Control C. Then I'll click on this guy. And Control V should be the right height. Okay. And I have this other one in the background too. So we're going to do the same thing with that one. Control V. It's the light fixture is not the correct length. So we'll take this guy and drag him over here and flip it. And now we'll go to that view. And what is the width? I think that's 21. Yep. So 18-inch would be nice if we had an 18-inch. See one, so we'll make one. Duplicate. 18 inches. Get rid of the 2. Okay. And length is right here. And I'll just use the arrows. Zoom in a little bit more, just to be a little finer. Okay, so now I have it selected. I can mirror that about the midpoint of this guy. Should be good. Okay. Now we'll go back to our first floor plan. And I think I'm ready to take a picture. Interesting. One thing I noticed was my elevation of the eye and the elevation of the camera, or the should be lower. Yeah. So when I was looking at the renderings of the foyer, the camera was really high up. So this looks good. I might want to rotate it so I can see a little bit more. ZE for zoom E. Let's save it. And little fussy here. I want to see the door, but I did want to see all of that cabinet. What's going on? This might end up lighting up at the top of the cabinet. It's not all the way up to the ceiling, but that's the backsplash. I'm not worried about that right now. Okay, so we'll go to view, render. I want to use sun and artificial. Render in the cloud. Standard, one. Okay, so there's the image of the kitchen. This is a little nook in the back here where we'll put a desk. I'll have a window. This wall will have sliding glass door wall on it to get outside. I'll put some chairs along here for the breakfast nook. Maybe put a couple of accessories in there. And then put a desk in and some upper cabinets and maybe a horizontal window between the uppers and lowers, like right there, across there. It should look good.